What's up, guys? You're watching the Whatever Camera series, and
Yo.
today we're doing a review. Jordan here. I'm with Isaac.
Yo.
Ilo.
Hey.
And Matt.
Hey.
And today we're talking about Spider-Man. We spent a little bit of time this morning watching. We spent some time this morning watching Spider-Man: Homecoming.
It sucked.
And there's your review.
And
So we had some thoughts that we wanted to share with you guys, and I guess where we're going to start off today is initial expectations. And for me in particular, I'm sure both of you guys know that I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, and being that this movie was rebooted many times, I had very high expectations of this film to carry the Spider-Man franchise in the right direction. Not too serious, not too comedic, and definitely not too Spider-Man 3 Tobey Maguire style. With that being said, Isaac, what were your initial expectations of the film?
Spider-Man has always been my favorite. Now, I'm not a intense superhero, fan, but if I had to pick one, it would be him. And I've always been excited for any of the Spider-Man movies that's come out in the last 15 years or whenever they started coming out. Was it 2002 was the first Tobey Maguire one? Something like
probably
that.
around that time, yeah. Still in high school.
Yeah. So
that's crazy. I learned something new about people every day. I had no idea that was your favorite superhero because I was like, that's my line because
oh really?
That's the exact same thing I was gonna say. I've always been a fan. I think Spider-Man is kind of how we met. Like we were drawing Spider-Man in middle school, and so he's always been my favorite character. So just gonna piggyback on the same thing that I guess maybe the expectations were
a little bit higher.
Maybe a little bit higher, just because naturally, I always picked him in video games, and he's always fun to draw, and his powers are cool.
He's the one you've imagined about the most, right?
Exactly, the one I dream about.
Sound like little girls.
Posters on the wall. So basically, just to kind of sum it up, I had pretty high expectations because huge Spider-Man fan, and I feel kind of like what you were saying, man, when it first came out, they're doing this again. They're gonna go for it again. So maybe okay because it's Disney owns it now and they want to take it into a certain place, but I'm happy to say I think they finally got it right.
It's a good start.
Finally got it right, yeah.
Now that we got that out of the way, let's cover what the movie did right versus wrong. Now, in my opinion, what I think it got right was Spider-Man's demeanor. He's definitely a wisecracker, and I think given that he's 15 years old in this film, they really got how he's supposed to react emotionally, physically to things.
Right.
You can see that he's very emotional, but that's what you would expect of a 15-year-old.
Right.
To be strong-headed and strong-willed, and he wants certain things to happen so badly, and especially when people tell him that he can't have them.
Right.
So I definitely feel like they got that right. Now, as far as wrong, there were certain things that I thought was kind of interesting. I'm very critical of the physics when he's flying through the air. You got to get that right. There was a particular scene where he jumped over like an 8-foot fence, and it was just really odd because it just looked like he was
just a little slow and a little clumsy. And
like he was pulled up by the waist, and then he just kind of came back down.
Yeah.
But it didn't look like gravity took him down. It looked like he was eased back down.
Right.
And he did it in broad daylight in front of, I think it was school or something like that.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
When he shot his web, swung, and then he glided with his little web gliding wings that he has. When he glided to the ferry, it looked so bad. I don't know if you guys caught that. He glided and he all of a sudden kind of slowed down. It looked really weird, and he was going too horizontally for how slow he was going. It's like, dude, you should be fucking plummeting right now.
I think it's like a squirrel suit, so it should be floating, but he was going.
It just
looked
looked
straight. Yeah.
It just looked weird. And also, my biggest thing that I was kind of complaining to myself about was the way he was running. Where was that insane speed? For how strong he is, how come he's taking strides like a normal?
That's true.
A normal, athletic high school boy. If he's superhuman Spider-Man, he should be running 50 miles an hour, or what they make it seem to be 50 miles an hour.
Right.
You know what I mean? It just looked weird when he was running through the backyards, and for some reason, just
you think he'd be able to jump farther than he can run?
That's what I'm saying. He should be doing strides like that, not just kind of that looked too slow for Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
That is a really good point because he does do some really big jumps in there too. Well, that's where I hope I guess the development comes in, because he does seem super, I guess, like immature and premature, and I think I was kind of like primed from the previous Spider-Man to I guess assume that he was older.
Yeah.
Because even though they show you like that he's in high school and there's all these young kids around. Me personally, I guess I really didn't think about how old he was, and I had assumed that he was older.
He's actually he's like the youngest, at least as far as Spider-Man movies that have been out.
So it was weird, like it actually changed the way I started watching the movie. And that's why I think I got off to like an awkward start in the movie too, is because I was assuming that he was a certain age.
Yeah.
And it didn't hit me until they actually literally said it.
Like, you're 14. He's like, no, I'm 15.
Yeah.
He's
No.
like, oh, well, damn.
Yeah. I literally had a moment.
And then it all
kind
of just clicks. It's like,
Yeah.
oh wow, no wonder you're acting like a little bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because fucking Tobey Maguire, the first one, they're graduating high school. The Andrew Garfield one, they're seniors, right? Because there's like a senior dance or there's a senior event or something like that. So this one, he's like a sophomore, and it's like, whoa, he's even younger.
Yeah, he hasn't even graduated.
Yeah.
He's still a virgin.
Right.
Clearly.
There's some things that
Not getting the chicks.
there's some things that I also thought they did right, which was, and I don't know if there's many of them, but I really liked when he webbed the guy's hand to keep him from stealing the car, and then the guy's like, dude, this is my car.
Yeah.
And then the alarm goes off, and then everybody's pissed off at Spider-Man, and I thought that was a really cool kind of like a real world situation that if Spider-Man was real, I bet he'd get himself into that all the time.
I'd like to see that happen in a Batman movie, where he swoops down and he smashes this dude's face into a window, and the guy's like, oh, this is my car, bro, my kid's in the back.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, like, are they gonna add this to the Spider-Man thing now? Like, in the next movie, is he going to like grow exponentially in strength?
Right.
Like, is that what they're setting up? Like, is he going to be jumping higher, running faster in the next movie? That's why I thought, like, his suit that Tony Stark gave him is in training mode. So as soon as he gets out of training mode, he's gonna be super badass. He's gonna be even crazier as far as like defying more of what, the physics that we know. And so it's like, are they going to do
like
that?
They didn't real Spider-Man where he's like jumping off the walls and flipping but really fast.
Yeah.
Like we'd expect.
The movie set up a lot of expectations. I guess a lot of things to explain away in hopes that that's their intention. So hopefully that's their intention, and we do get that badass Spider-Man.
Our generation, and maybe the one right before, but mostly the ones after that just want everything now. They want, and I like seeing a movie making us wait, why? I don't like that. And then, not necessarily in the next scene, but like maybe halfway through the movie later, this is why. And it's like, cool, okay. I like being annoyed by that, only to have it be explained afterwards, rather than just leave a gap or just, here's this because we need to add this in here.
One thing they did really right with this movie is they did the storytelling right. A lot of movies have this big problem where they think that the audience is like just idiots.
Yeah.
And so they start doing this thing where they reveal information.
They reveal too much.
Immediately.
Yeah.
When what we want is to feel like we figured it out.
Yeah.
Right.
Even if you're telling us what the story is, give us a little sense of.
Yeah. Give us a challenge.
Like make me feel like I'm working a little bit for it.
Yeah.
That way I can feel more involved in the movie itself. Would you pay to see it again?
No.
Would you pay to see it again?
I'd pay to see it again.
I'd pay to see it again. Not $14, but I'd pay to see it.
I would see
like
it again.
Early matinee, maybe.
Yeah.
Some free popcorn.
I do want to see it again, actually.
Maybe a drink.
You're just not gonna pay for it.
Valet parking.
All right, let's move on.
Costume.
Okay. Yeah. What do you guys think about the costume?
I'm not sure if I like the whole, him and the CPU talking to each other as much as they did.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Well, that's because Tony made the suit.
Exactly. So I don't dislike it, but I don't know if it's just like,
Maybe
let's
they
do
overdid
this
it a little
Iron
bit.
Man shit, like.
That was probably one point that if I had to pick something out that I really didn't like about the movie, it was exactly that.
Really?
It almost felt too dependent on Tony Stark.
Right.
Because now he's got all this crazy technology and
That's
got all
why he
these
pulled it
things,
away.
like, planned out.
The suit.
Pulled the suit away?
Yeah. The whole premise of the story hinges on the fact that if you're nothing without the suit, then you're nothing at all, basically.
Right.
What we see with him with the suit is his inexperience with it. He doesn't know what to do with it, and even his conversation. He's relying on this suit so much. So without that suit, what would he be? Until he was actually tested when Tony took the suit away.
See, that's also why I didn't like the we were talking about earlier, though, with like the physics, because that's why I was thinking like Spider-Man is supposed to be insanely strong compared to what they're showing, and then now they're also showing that he needs the suit for a lot of his.
Well, here, think about this though. When he approached him, he said he only got his powers 6 months before that.
Right.
And then he went off with them to Civil War. And then in the movie timeline, only 2 months had passed. So he's only had his powers for 8 months.
Right.
So yeah, Isaac, so you had something to mention about that ferry scene where...
I thought it was stupid.
The whole scene?
How the fuck does the ship stay afloat?
That
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
I just thought it was a very...
We're just going to do a quick patch job. Pop, pop, pop.
Yeah, but I thought these new layers underneath. They help you. There's like a plastic layer that floats. Yeah.
I thought just about every what would you call it? Every like major conflict in the movie, I just thought it was a very poor choice of like location, except for the Washington Monument thing. I dug that. I mean, it doesn't have to have an appropriation. Like I'm not like, because I kind of want to say like the Washington Monument scene was more Spider-Man appropriate as opposed to the plane or the fucking suburb thing. A location could be a bad choice, but you could still do it well.
Yeah.
So like, for example, the first big one is like, they're gonna all go, or no, it's like the second one. They're all gonna go fight on some ferry that just left New York City, and they're on the boat, and they're like,
literally just left.
It just left. They're literally like, they probably don't get as far as a mile out to sea, so they're still next to the city, but
they're like 200 feet away.
just the way it happens, yeah. So yeah, so as soon as like you see him gliding into the boat, I was just like, that looked dumb. And then like really, the ending of this conflict is that the boat's cut in half, and he's just going to fucking try to tie it together, and then the boat's not sinking, and then Iron Man comes and saves the day in the dumbest fucking way, I thought. Anyways, the reason why I wanted to bring up the ferry, because I just thought I don't think any of those scenes were good in the action aspect of it. A lot of that, which I'm criticizing, seems to be like, okay, who do they have in mind as far as audience? Because I don't mind the fact that they're making this for like teenagers or even younger people. That's fine, because I understand it, but like there's still just some like that I had a problem with. The fact that he never really looked fucked up after his fights, you know, even in the big one where he's like his face, for the first time in the whole movie, it seemed like he sustained a little bit of damage. Everywhere else it didn't really look like he got fucked up. In all the other movies, he gets pretty fucked up. This one is just like, oh, he's got a bloody lip, and then and a fat lip, and maybe a bruise. And the very next day, when he sees Liz or whoever that is, he's like super clean. So there's like little things like that. Maybe they don't want to show blood at all because it's Disney. I don't know, but there's just some. And then the airplane scene, I thought was really stupid. Like, I don't know, like part of it I didn't really dig the physics of it. Like his outfit at this time is his like shitty amateur outfit, and he's on a fucking jet that like literally goes 500 miles in the sky, right? But that's like substratosphere where there's little resistance. This fucking jet is going like what? It's like way below. It's like in our part of the atmosphere where there's so much resistance, there's so much turbulence, and his like hood is somehow hasn't ripped off his fucking head. They're like showing how hard the resistance is in some things, but then he's somehow defying it in other ways, and it's just kind of like, I know this is peculiar, but it's kind of annoying me. You know, I don't know. Like it was just.
That's a good point. I think maybe it sounds like kind of thinking about it. Maybe the movie was a little confused in like the way they wanted to explain it. I guess it brings up a question of like how much do we lend to just like, oh well, he's like a superhero. I guess
everything. All of it.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
We haven't talked about this yet, and I feel like it's a big deal. And I'm kind of like wondering, where the fuck is it? Where was the spider sense? There was no Spidey sense, and they didn't even hint that it was coming. Is it developed? Historically, the spider sense just came when he got bit, he fell sick, he slept for like 1 or 3 days straight or something like that, and he woke up yoked. He's like, what is that? How could I see briefly into the future and sense? He was like,
usually would just happen at school.
Yeah, so it's just like, okay, there's no use of it. They didn't acknowledge it at all. Did they forget? Did they decide to write it out? I don't know, but I'm kind of not a fan of the absence of spider sense. I don't know about you guys.
I would hope that they did. That's a huge point to make. That's totally true. And now that I'm thinking about it, I hope that they did not explain it away with the suit. because what the suit did when you like activated all those modes, then he could like hear inside of a van or like you know, see certain things or like kind of.
Because the sense has always been like, I want to say proprietary to Spider-Man. Like that's his thing.
Yeah, it's huge.
And so they would have like
You're welcome.
You're
right.
You're absolutely right. How they completely missed it. They should have at least hinted to it.
See, that's what I mean. I'm like, I'm hoping that in their minds they weren't like, oh, we'll just add it into like the suit. And like those because that would be a really that'd be a really substitution.
I think that's the best thing like about Spider-Man is like, it's like, look, I dig the fact that he's too young and naive, but I think they've always kind of written Spider-Man as like he's super powerful. He's just probably too young for it. But we're still used to him being super powerful though, even though he's kind of like emotionally not so intelligent. But I think that's the fun thing that we like to see about Spider-Man is that he's a kid with great power and responsibility, right? But he's just so young that he has this unique challenge of having to be responsible and having to be mature for a teenager in high school. We're used to him like not, you know, oh, I've been bit and it took me like 5 years to reach this level. No, he was already dope. He just kind of had a hard time getting used to it. So it's like, all right, where's the absence of spider sense? Is it coming? Is he going to be way stronger and faster? Because I'm still a little butthurt about that. Overall, Spider-Man was a good movie.
I definitely agree. It
has potential.
It was everything that I was waiting for in a Spider-Man movie. The things that it did really, really right were the story, the development, and I think a lot of it is going to depend on how they finish up with it.
Right.
So if they sell me a movie of completely amateur kid, immature Spider-Man that will develop into something really awesome, I hope that's where it ends up.
Yeah.
So Isaac, send it or nah?
Send it, dude.
Send it. Dope. All right. Well, again, Jordan, Ilo, Matt, you've been watching the Whatever Camera series. Thank you so much for sticking around with us. It takes us maybe about an hour to do one of these videos, and it takes me about, 6 hours to edit one of these things. So I really appreciate the time that you guys spend watching it. It's about 90 degrees here in the studio right now. I'm sweating my balls off, but I do it for you.
They're on the floor.
And so do they. We love you.